flipping through the newspapers, switching through multiple news channels, exploring different websites and online mediums for relevant news? Keeping up to date with important news is not only time-consuming but also requires meticulous upkeep of notes for thorough revision. With a limited period in hand and abundant resources to study from, do not let current affairs come in the way of your prelims success. Join the PT 365 program by Vision IAS and advance in your preparation for current affairs. Starting on 9th January at 5 p.m., this 20-day course offers comprehensive coverage of 1 year of current affairs in 60 hours. Join for improved knowledge with complete coverage of the Hindu, Indian Express, PIB, Economic Times, Yojana, Economic Survey, etc. Doubt-clearing sessions and mentoring for thorough knowledge. Access to Sandhan personalized test with 25,000 plus questions. Access to live and online classes for flexibility in timing. It's time to devote your energy to smart learning and not running. Enroll today and excel in UPSC prelims with a strong command of current affairs.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Ministry of Jal Shakti releases Dynamic Groundwater Resource Assessment Report 2024. Centre amends Prison Manual Rules 2016 and Model Prisons and Correctional Services Act 2023. Indian coffee exports surpass $1 billion for the first time, says Centre for Monitoring Indian Economy. World Food and Agriculture 2024 Statistical Yearbook released by FAO. US appeals court rules against net neutrality. Tamil Nadu CM announced $1 million prize for deciphering Indus Valley script. In a significant update on groundwater resources, the Ministry of Jal Shakti has released the Dynamic Groundwater Resource Assessment Report 2024. This annual assessment has been carried out since 2022 by the Central Groundwater Board or CGWB in collaboration with states and union territories. Let's dive into the key highlights of the report. First, on recharge. The total annual groundwater recharge has witnessed a marginal decline from 449 billion cubic meters in 2023 to 446.90 billion cubic meters in 2024. Rainfall remains the primary contributor, accounting for nearly 61% of this recharge. Moving to extraction. Annual extractable groundwater resources have also seen a slight decrease from 407.21 billion cubic meters to 406.19 billion cubic meters. Consequently, the overall stage of groundwater extraction has increased marginally from 59.21% to 60.47%. Now, let's look at the classification of assessment units. The percentage of units under the safe category has increased slightly from 73% in 2023 to 73.4% in 2024. Around 3.05% of the units are classified as critical and 11.1% of the units fall under the overexploited category. Interestingly, the concentration of overexploited units is region-specific, with the highest occurrences in the northwest regions of Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, and western Uttar Pradesh, the western states of Rajasthan and Gujarat, and the southern states of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh. But what do these categories mean? Overexploited units are those where groundwater extraction exceeds the annual replenishable groundwater recharge. Critical units have groundwater extraction ranging between 90 to 100% of the available extractable resources. Safe units, on the other hand, are where groundwater extraction is less than 70%. So, what's driving groundwater depletion? The primary factor is irrigation, which accounts for over 60% of groundwater use. Poor irrigation practices, such as flood irrigation and the cultivation of water-intensive crops like rice, exacerbate the issue. Additionally, decreasing groundwater recharge due to loss of vegetation and irregular rainfall patterns also play a significant role. Climate change further compounds the problem, with erratic rainfall patterns directly impacting recharge levels. Now, a quick look at the Central Groundwater Board or CGWB. Established in 1970, the CGWB is the apex organization under the Ministry of Jal Shakti, responsible for addressing groundwater-related issues. Its mandate includes developing technologies and implementing national policies for the scientific and sustainable management of groundwater resources. This report highlights the growing challenges in groundwater management and underscores the need for sustainable practices. The Ministry of Home Affairs has taken a significant step to address caste-based discrimination within prisons across the country. The government has amended the Model Prison Manual 2016 rules and the Model Prisons and Correctional Services Act 2023 to ensure a more inclusive and fair environment in correctional facilities. These amendments have been made in compliance with the Supreme Court order in the Sukanya Santha v. Union of India and others case, which highlighted the need to eliminate caste-based discrimination among prisoners. Additionally, the Supreme Court has directed that the reference to habitual offenders in prison manuals must align with the legislative definitions of the respective state laws. So, who are habitual offenders? They are individuals convicted and sentenced multiple times within 5 years for separate offences, provided their sentences have not been reversed on appeal or review. Let's take a closer look at the key amendments. Prison authorities must strictly ensure that prisoners are not discriminated against, classified, or segregated based on their caste, including during the allocation of duties or work within the prison. This aligns with the constitutional provisions such as Article 14, Equality before law, Article 15, Prohibition of discrimination, and Article 17, Abolition of untouchability. Further, the provisions of the Prohibition of Employment as Manual Scavengers and their Rehabilitation Act 2013 will now have a binding effect in prisons and correctional institutions. As a result, manual scavenging or hazardous cleaning of sewers or septic tanks within prisons is strictly prohibited. Now, a quick look at the governance of prisons in India. Prisons, as well as the persons detained within them, fall under the state list as per Entry 4. The administration and management of prisons are the responsibility of the respective state governments, governed by the Prison Act 1894 and the Prison Manuals of individual states. However, the Model Prisons Act 2023 has now replaced the outdated Prison Act 1894, ensuring a modern framework for prison administration. These amendments mark a crucial step toward upholding the constitutional values of equality and dignity for all individuals, including those behind bars. For the first time, Indian coffee exports have surpassed the $1 billion mark, according to the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy or CMIE. In 2024, Indian coffee exports experienced a remarkable 45% increase in dollar value, reaching over $1.68 billion. Let's dive into the key factors driving this growth. One major reason is the surge in Robusta coffee prices, which rose by more than 60% in 2024, reaching a 45-year high. This was largely due to increased global coffee consumption and poor weather conditions, such as droughts, which disrupted supply in key coffee-producing nations like Brazil and Vietnam. Another contributing factor is the European Union's Deforestation Regulation or EUDR. There was a sharp growth in exports as suppliers stocked up ahead of this regulation, which could raise the cost of coffee and other agricultural products entering the EU. Now, let's take a look at the status of coffee production in India. India is the 8th largest coffee producer globally as of 2022-23, while Brazil remains the world's largest coffee producer, contributing around 40% of global production. India's coffee cultivation is traditionally concentrated in the rainforest of the Western Ghats in South India. Karnataka leads the production, followed by Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Odisha. The two main types of coffee grown in India are Arabica and Robusta. Arabica, superior in quality, trades at higher prices, while Robusta, though less refined, accounts for 72% of India's total coffee production, making India the 5th largest Robusta producer in the world. Finally, let's explore the growing conditions for coffee. Both Arabica and Robusta thrive in deep, fertile soils that are rich in organic matter, well-drained and slightly acidic, with a pH range of 6.0 to 6.5. Arabica coffee prefers gentle to moderate slopes, while Robusta can grow on gentle slopes to fairly level fields. In terms of elevation, Arabica requires higher altitudes of 1000 to 1500 meters, whereas Robusta thrives at lower elevations of 500 to 1000 meters. Temperature is another key factor. Arabica grows best in cool, equable climates with temperatures ranging from 15 to 25 degrees Celsius, while Robusta prefers hotter, more humid conditions between 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity levels for Arabica range from 70 to 80%, while Robusta needs higher humidity levels of 80 to 90%. Annual rainfall requirements also vary, with Arabica requiring 1600 to 2500 mm compared to Robusta's lower range of 1000 to 2000 mm. Now, let's delve into the key insights from the World Food and Agriculture 2024 Statistical Yearbook, recently released by the Food and Agriculture Organization or FAO of the United Nations. This yearbook offers a detailed synthesis of the major factors shaping the global food and agriculture landscape. Let's dive into the highlights. Starting with the economic dimensions of agriculture. The share of agriculture in the global GDP has remained stable at around 4% since the year 2000. Interestingly, agriculture employed 26% of the global workforce in 2022, equating to about 892 million people, a significant drop from 40% in 2000. India stood out with the largest number of people working in agriculture in 2022, 226 million. Moreover, India also led in terms of equipped irrigation area with 76 million hectares, closely followed by China with 75 million hectares. Now, let's shift focus to the production, trade and prices of commodities. The US and Europe emerged as the largest exporters of cereals, while Asia was the largest importer. India achieved remarkable milestones, being the top producer of milk with a 23% share in the global market in 2022. Additionally, India ranked as the second largest producer of sugarcane and fisheries. Moving on to food security and nutrition, global hunger continues to be a pressing issue, affecting 9.1% of the world's population, which translates to 733 million people as of 2023. Notably, food insecurity remains more prevalent among women across all continents. Lastly, let's talk about the sustainability and environmental aspects of agriculture. Between 2000 and 2022, the world saw a decline in agricultural land by 91 million hectares, alongside loss of 109 million hectares of forest area. Furthermore, greenhouse gas emissions from agri-food systems increased by 10% during this period, emphasizing the need for sustainable practices in agriculture. A quick look at the Food and Agriculture Organization or FAO itself. It was established in 1945 and is a specialized agency of the United Nations, focusing on defeating hunger as part of the SDG 2. It has 195 members including India, comprising 194 countries and the European Union. The FAO is headquartered in Rome, Italy. Moving ahead, let's delve into an important development that has reignited the global debate on net neutrality. Recently, the US Court of Appeals ruled against a Federal Communication Commission, the telecom regulator in the United States, on its attempt to enforce net neutrality. This decision underscores the divergent approaches taken by the US and India toward this significant issue. Net neutrality, at its core, is the idea that a maximally useful public information network should treat all content, sites, and platforms equally. This means Internet Service Providers or ISPs must not discriminate in Internet traffic based on the service, application, sender, or recipient. The debate surrounding net neutrality has two clear sides. Supporters argue that it protects user rights by ensuring freedom of expression and non-discriminatory access to the Internet. It also safeguards user privacy by preventing ISPs from examining and manipulating Internet traffic. Furthermore, net neutrality fosters innovation and entrepreneurship by creating a level playing field for startups, enabling them to compete fairly against well-established tech giants. On the other hand, critics highlight potential drawbacks. They argue that net neutrality could result in a loss of revenue for ISPs, which may, in turn, hinder investments in fiber-based infrastructure and new access technologies. Telecom providers also face challenges as they must incur higher costs and comply with stricter regulatory norms compared to over-the-top communication services. Additionally, critics point to the need for selective app bans in certain situations. For example, during unrest in disturbed areas, banning specific OTT apps could help maintain access to critical services like education and healthcare while avoiding complete internet shutdowns. India has taken a definitive stance on net neutrality, setting itself apart from the recent developments in the US. In 2018, the Department of Telecommunications notified a regulatory framework on net neutrality. This framework mandates the non-discriminatory treatment of content by internet access services, ensuring a free and open internet for users. However, it also allows certain exceptions. For instance, non-discrimination rules do not apply to services like content delivery networks, Internet of Things or IoT, and other specialized services. The contrasting policies of the US and India reflect the different priorities and challenges faced by nations in addressing net neutrality. While the debate continues globally, it remains a critical issue shaping the future of internet access and the balance between innovation, privacy, and infrastructure development. Moving ahead, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has announced a $1 million prize for experts and organizations that succeed in deciphering the mysterious scripts of the Indus Valley civilization. Let's start by understanding the Indus Valley scripts. These scripts have been found at nearly 60 excavation sites and around 3,500 specimens currently survive. These include inscriptions on stamp seals carved in stone, terracotta and faience amulets, and fragments of pottery. Despite the abundance of artifacts, the inscriptions are typically very short, with most comprising no more than 5 signs on average. The writing style of these scripts is equally fascinating. Generally, they were written from right to left. However, in some longer text, an alternating style called boustrophédon was used, where the direction changes with each line. The composition of the script includes partially pictographic signs, human and animal motifs, and a distinctive unicorn symbol. The designs are marked by artistic precision, often described as controlled realism. Moving on to the writing media and methods, the Indus Valley people used seals, tablets, and copper tablets as their primary mediums. The materials ranged from terracotta and ceramics to shell, bone, ivory, stone, metals, and even perishable items like fabric and wood. These inscriptions were applied using techniques such as carving, incising, chiseling, inlaying, painting, molding, and embossing. Now let's explore the significance of deciphering the Indus Valley script. Understanding these scripts could reveal the relationship between the Indus Valley civilization and later Vedic practices. It may also shed light on their interactions with other contemporary civilizations. Linguistically, it could establish connections between the languages of the Indus Valley and modern Dravidian and Indo-European language families, giving us a clearer picture of our shared heritage. To provide some context, let's take a quick look at Indus Valley civilization itself. This ancient civilization spans 3 phases: the early Harappan period from 3500 to 2600 BCE, the mature Harappan period from 2600 to 1900 BCE, and the late Harappan period from 1900 to 1300 BCE. It was first discovered in 1924 by John Marshall, and its major sites include Harappa, Lothal, Dholavira, Rakhigadi, and Kalibanga, among others. This announcement by Tamil Nadu's Chief Minister is a significant step toward unraveling the mysteries of the Indus Valley civilization and could pave the way for groundbreaking discoveries in history and linguistics. The personality in the news today is Savitribai Phule. Recently, the eminent social reformer and educationist was remembered on her birth anniversary. Let's learn about her remarkable contributions. Savitribai Phule was born in Nayagaon, Satara district of Maharashtra. She became the first headmistress of the country's first school for girls, established in Pune. Among her key contributions, she devoted her life to educating Shudras and Atishudras. In 1873, she, along with her husband Jyotiba Phule, introduced the practice of Satya Shodhak marriage, a marriage without dowry or with minimal wedding costs. The couple also actively opposed child marriages and advocated for widow remarriages. In 1854, Savitribai Phule published her first collection of poems, Kavya Phule, becoming the first modern poetess of Marathi literature. Through her life and actions, she exemplified values of egalitarianism, justice, and courage of conviction, leaving an indelible mark on society. As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Lok Sabha Speaker Shri Om Birla has inaugurated Panchayat Se Parliament 2.0. Panchayat Se Parliament 2.0 is organized by the National Commission for Women and the Lok Sabha Secretariat in collaboration with the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. It aims to empower elected women representatives from scheduled tribes in Panchayati Raj institutions. Recently, the Union Ministry of Home Affairs asked chartered accountants to report violations of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act or FCRA 2010 by NGOs. The Act requires CAs to certify whether an association or NGO has utilized foreign contributions received for the purposes it was registered for. Wall Street's biggest banks, including Goldman Sachs Group Inc., have announced their exit from the Net Zero Banking Alliance or NZBA. Bank-led and UN-convened NZBA is a group of leading global banks committed to aligning their lending, investment and capital market activities with net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. No Indian bank is a member of NZBA. CSIR, Central Institute of Mining and Fuel Research or CSIR-CIMFR has successfully conducted the first trial blast for the dozer push mining method. The dozer push mining method utilizes unmanned, automated machinery to optimize the mining process while ensuring that vibrations and fly rock are controlled within safe limits. Using the largest gravitational wave detector ever made, researchers have confirmed that the universe has a constant background vibration of gravitational waves. Gravitational waves are invisible yet fast ripples in space, traveling at the speed of light and causing objects in their path to squeeze and stretch. Scientists have developed a nanopore-based tool that could help diagnose illnesses much faster and with greater precision by analyzing signals from individual molecules. Nanopore technology refers to nanoscale holes embedded in a thin membrane structure to detect potential changes when charged biological molecules smaller than the nanopore pass through the hole. Recently, the Konda Reddy tribe was in the news for preferring live-in relationships over marriage due to the expensive traditional weddings. The Konda Reddy tribe is recognized as a particularly vulnerable tribal group or PVTG. They inhabit the hilly and forest tracts of East and West Godavari and Khammam districts of Andhra Pradesh. Their mother tongue is Telugu. The centre has approved Rs 676.70 crore for the infrastructural development of various universities and colleges in Odisha under PM Usha. In light of NEP 2020, the Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Abhiyan or RUSA scheme was launched as PM Usha in 2023. It is a centrally sponsored scheme aimed at funding specific state governments, universities and colleges, including those in rural areas, to improve their quality by ensuring conformity to prescribed norms and standards.
Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.